street racing, 60 styles, everything thumping, Camaros, Chevelles, all that stuff. It brings back all those memories. You say double humps, you don't have to say anything else. People automatically, bing, goes in their head, right? When they first come out 50 years ago, okay, they were really good. They were good numbers. They flowed good. They made good power. You know, they produced thousands and thousands of them, but technology has come on strong. For the same CC size and for the same, you know, basically the same valve size and chamber design, the whole 9 yards, okay? Flow numbers for a double hump head at 500s lift, which I usually run a 480 or 460 cam, so we're just going to use 500. Everybody does it by, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 500-inch lift cam, okay? Flow numbers for a 202 is 202 CFM, okay? That's 202 CFM, okay, at 500 lift, okay? We'll just go, what on the market right now, everybody's talking about AFRs, okay? The AFR, the 195, the 195 ports that just came out with the 200s, but the 195 ports, which are basically the same port size and shape and configuration as a 202 head, they run, hey, since you're here and you're watching, smash that like button. They run 275 CFM at 500s lift. Okay, so that's right at about, is that what, 20% better? Okay, just on the intake, okay, at 500s lift, all right? So that's 202 as opposed to 275, all right? Now, exhaust. And you guys know, if you guys watch my videos, I like heads that scavenge exhaust off because it cleans the incoming charge for the new hit on that cylinder. So the better it flows out the backside, the better it is. Okay, it's a more efficient air pump. Okay. Now, on the double hump heads, the exhaust flow at 500s lift for exhaust is 141 CFM. For the exhaust for the AFR heads is 213 at 500s lift. That's a massive difference. Okay. So we've already established, okay, 202 as 275, 141, 203. I mean, 213, I'm sorry. It's okay. Just that alone is substantially more power. I mean, that's just unbolting them and putting them back on. Okay. Those are the numbers. Now let's talk about coolness factor. Let's talk about everything else that's involved. We're not just talking about just taking them off, bolting them on, you know, making power. Okay. Now, if you're that guy that has to have, you know, by the numbers, 202 heads and the 69 Camaro, you know, with a rock crusher 4-speed, I get it. I really do get it. I get it, you know. And I'm talking about just a street. This is just street driving up to 6,000 RPMs, okay? On the street, you know, double hump heads, yeah, they're cool. You go to a car lot, you see one, you spot those little humps, you know, on the side, on the end of the head, you know, in the parking lot at the car show, and you know what that is automatically. You know that was originally a high performance, 50 years ago, high performance producing head. Okay, those engines ran great. All right, but if you don't have to do that, if you don't have to have something that's concourse original, that's by the numbers matching, blah 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 blah, you know, date codes and all this kind of stuff. Do you guys know we do Thursday night lives? Every Thursday at 8 o'clock Central, we do a live Q&A about engines, motors, trucks, cars, whatever you want to talk about. We have a great time. You really enjoy it. Check it out. I don't see where the reasoning is to not buy newer stuff. Okay, so first thing is, if you're looking for some, you'd have to find them. And since they're double humps, you're going to pay dearly for the cores. Just a rebuildable core if you can find them. I'm sure there's out there. If you do enough searching, you can find whatever you want, whether it's, you know, Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever it is, racing junk, whatever it is, you can find it. Okay, you can. They're out there, but you are going to pay dearly for them because they're double hump heads. Okay, so there's that expense. Okay, and then you have to have them decked because they're 50 years old. They've been hot and cold for 50 years. They've been sitting in barns. They've been, you know, they've been abused. They're not going to be good shape. So you got to have them surfaced. You got to have a valve job done. You got probably going to have to replace valves. You're going to have to replace springs. You're going to have to replace just pretty much everything on the hardware on the head itself, just to get it up to par. You know, hardened exhaust seats, because none of them came with them in the 60s. You know, with the unleaded gas, you know, you got it. There's so much expense. And machine work is not cheap anymore. One thing, but if you go to a regular machine shop these days, that equipment they have in there, it's expensive on them. They have bills to pay too. They have to charge you what they have to charge you to make money, to be able to keep the lights on and keep it open so you can bring the next one into so you can get machined. Okay, so machining is not cheap. All right. With a brand new casting, you get a brand new casting when it comes to like an AFR. I mean, there's nothing to do. It just comes in the box. You pay your money. It comes in a box. It's got everything new, from the valves, the springs, keepers, locks. Everything is new. You know, studs, guide plates. Everything is new. You ain't got to worry about stress cracks. You ain't got to worry about checking everything out. It's brand new in the box, and it's guaranteed. Okay, that's the other thing. If you buy new from a manufacturer and it comes in, it's not quite right, they'll guarantee it. I mean, they kind of have to, because, or, you know, with the internet these days, words gets out, right? When you're taking an old set of heads and refurbish them, there's no guarantee on nothing. They're going to flux core them and they're going to check them for cracks and everything. But if they booger up, it's on you, okay? Because you bought an old set of heads you brought in and trying to refurbish into a new set of heads. The quality of the materials used to make them, the parts, the heads themselves, everything has come leaps and bounds in 50 years. Okay. The power is from flow, but RPM range and things like that is from weight. Okay. So compared to an old intake valve, compared to a new intake valve, the weights are different. The new ones are lighter. They're stronger. They're back cut. They come ready to rock. Okay. Weight in a valve train it robs power. Okay. And it also, if you want to go anything past, say, 55, 57 to 6,000 RPMs, then you're really dealing with weight. That's why all them racers that run 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 RPM, they run titanium everything, because the weight, the rotating assembly, just the friction from the weight is your deciding factor when it comes to RPM range. Okay, so that's why big blocks don't like a lot of RPM unless you spend a ton of money on super light valve train parts. Okay, so the old stuff is way heavier than the new stuff. You know, the technology has just come on like gangbusters. I mean, there is no comparison at all. None. You can spend the money, again, there you go, with more expense to be able to retro, you know, one with lighter parts and stronger new parts. But then again, more cost. Okay. You could theoretically bring a set of double hump heads into the modern age with the new materials, with the new valves and the springs and the retainers and the locks and everything involved. You know, you buy everything brand new, you know, and roller rockers, the whole 9 yards. You can get all that stuff bought for, but you're going to be just as much money in as buying a set of brand new aluminum AFR heads. And that's the other thing, is that I know GM made aluminum heads because, you know, Ford made aluminum heads because of Le Mans. Okay. GM kind of got into it too, but those numbers ain't even as good as the new technology. So your valve train parts with the new technology is lighter than the old stuff. It's the cost, I would say, is a push. If you can find a deal, like like Summit runs, Christmas deals. If you can find a deal, $200 off, spend whatever, that sort of thing, you could theoretically get a good set of heads for pretty cheap. And the flow and the power availability is better with the new technology. And then, of course, the weight of the heads themselves, because you're going from cast iron to aluminum, which, you know, everybody knows every 100 pounds off of whatever it is a tenth of a second, whether you're on the street or you're on the strip. So everybody has their own opinion. And I'm not knocking double hump heads. I'm just saying, in reality, in today's age, you're it's a push. Today's age, it's a push, because you can spend all the money to refurbish and retro an old set of 202 heads, and they still won't flow as much as an out of the box AFR 195 200 or any other brand out there, whether it's Edelbrock, whatever company it is you deal with, you know, Brodix, a street 195 200 cc runner head is going to produce more power than a retroed out, you know, endless supply of money set of double hump heads. There's, you know, plus on top of it, you can run more compression with aluminum because it's more forgiving for a compression ratio because it dissipates heat faster. Okay, so you can run 9.5 to 1 compression ratio where you can run 8.5 to 1 with cast iron heads and no detonation. So you guys decide, but this is just the realities of the world we're living in right now. So once I run out of cast iron heads, and if I decide that I really want to go fast, I'm probably spending the dime on a good, solid, basic street head aluminum. Just because you can port and polish and work and do, you know, and surf it and do all that stuff. Everything I've talked about, you can do all that to an old set of heads, and it's still ain't going to flow as good as out of the box brand new heads. Just not. It's the way it is. Comment down below. I know you guys got lots of comments about this, you know. Y'all have a great day. Because a great day today could mean even better day tomorrow. Y'all be good.